Hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to a live Manchester United news, transfer news, and talk show. As today's video, we've got lots to talk about. INEOS ready to axe and get rid of 3 stars now. They're actively trying to find solutions to get rid of 3 stars. How will they offload these players? Why are INEOS being particularly ruthless? We know about Garnacho coming in and out. We know about INEOS's ruthless cost cutting, but they want to execute that on the squad as well. Help with the squad planning, be ruthless. And Ruben Amorim himself has made some brutal decisions. Rashford obviously being dropped from the Manchester derby and being kicked out as one of those. But Ruben Amorim has the backing from the Manchester United squad over those ruthless decisions. He has a zero tolerance policy, and he's trying to enforce a new dressing room mentality, which apparently some of the players are buying into. They back Ruben Amorim. Garnacho to Napoli, lots of interest from Napoli and Garnacho. Fabrizio Romano confirms this. Napoli could make another bid for Garnacho, but will it be high enough for United to upset? Because United are willing to cash in on Garnacho for the right price. We're going to talk about the latest in regards to Garnacho and Rashford's sale in terms of Dorgales and Buemo as well. Who are we looking at bringing in? Because we are over halfway through the January window and not one out and not one in is secured, despite Ruben Amorim clearly needing the backing, despite the squad clearly needing an out, and we don't, nothing's happened yet, but surely something is going to happen. You'd think so, you'd hope so. We're going to get into all of that. We'll also talk about Manchester United versus, of course, Southampton tonight. We are 15th in the league. First of all, we are 15th in the league. We have to win tonight. We have to win. Even if we were 6th in the league, we have to win. I will be very concerned if we do not win tonight. There will be a watch along for this game tonight. Do not worry. Do not let me down. But Euro and Anthony apparently starting at the back, which will be interesting to see Anthony at wing back with the low out. I'm kind of excited, but we have to wait for the official lineup. 15th place, Manchester United. 15th. Do not think of letting me down. So let's get into the news, let's get into the talk, let's get into all the conversations, and then I will be back live maybe 4 o'clock, and then I'll probably do a watch along tonight. But it was said that Manchester United are holding talks with multiple clubs regarding an exit for Anthony. It was said that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is hell-bent on slashing Manchester United's colossal wage bill. The co-owner is particularly keen to offload players who aren't justifying their massive salaries like Casemiro, Rashford and Anthony. So United are ready to get rid of Anthony, they're ready to get rid of Rashford, they're ready to get rid of Casemiro, they're ready to have a big clear out of those 3 players, and we've known that for a while. United are ready to get rid of those players and be somewhat brutal in the clear out. They need to get rid of big wage players. What we know about INEOS is they want to finish player power, they want to finish people being on big wages that don't deserve it. Casemiro, Anthony, Lindelof, Rashford and Eriksen have all been told they can actively look at a new club in January. They can actively go out and they can look at a new club in January. Malacia and Shaw up for sale, but United just don't think anything's going to happen with them. Garnacho and Maino, despite being key players last season up in the form, they're not 100% safe. Now, Man United are working on a new deal for Kobbie Maino, but they've said to Maino and Garnacho, look, if an offer comes in for you, we're not going to say no if it's the right price. New signings have been warned that they could be up for sale in the summer. Xerxes could be sold this summer. Apparently, De Ligt isn't safe. Mazraoui isn't safe. I mean, I don't think they'll be sold, but they've just been told, you're not 100% safe because you are a 10-og signing, and at the end of the day, not an Amorim signing. It was also said, that Ruben Amorim is ready to be ruthless with the squad. If they do not follow his instructions, he'll kick them out. Marcus Rashford has been kicked out for not showing the levels in training and going out. Garnacho was kicked out and then benched for 7 games because he didn't listen to Ruben Amorim's instructions. Casemiro and Eriksen remain on the bench after this shambles versus Newcastle. He's prioritising Collier. INEOS' plan is to move Casemiro, Anthony and Rashford on now. Malacia and Shaw also up for sale. They want to get rid of the big wage players as well. Luke Shaw is back next week. He's not going anywhere in January, despite Napoli interest, but he is back next week as well. But Ruben Amorim is, and INEOS just want to get rid of big wage stars. They want to get players out as well. Let's go for 100 likes. Boo out everybody in the chat. Can we hire Alice for the dressing room giving a speech to those players? 15th place, don't lose. I mean, I don't even think there needs to be a speech to motivate them to beat Southampton, surely. Southampton, the worst team in the league. We need a 4-0 win. A 4-0 win would make me feel good. Have to loan out Anthony. Doubt will help much with wages. Yeah, he will probably pay vast majority. The problem is we're going to have to pay Anthony to leave, basically, is what's going to happen. We're basically going to get nothing back from Anthony, which is going to be one of the biggest wastes of money this club has ever had. But going back, Ruben Amorim, INEOS are brutal. INEOS want to finish player power. They've got plans. They want Rashford, Casemiro, and Antony out. Casemiro will go if Saudi put an offer in. Marcus Rashford has interest from lots of clubs, but lots of clubs are still sceptical about his wages and want United to play a bit. Barcelona are apparently trying to offload Ansu Fati, and if they do that, they will make a move for Marcus Rashford. And maybe Marcus Rashford is waiting for Barcelona. That is his dream move. Antony going is the difficult one. You can kick out Casemiro, you can kick out Rashford, you can find suits for them because at the end of the day, they are good players. Antony doesn't have any stock. He has one good season at Ajax, and that is it. Rashford has stock. Casemiro has loads of stock, although he's aging. Antony doesn't have any stock. So getting rid of Antony, to be fair to INEOS, is going to be ridiculously hard and ridiculously difficult for them. Getting ready to get rid of and actually achieving this are poles apart. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem because of the wages. Because the ridiculous wages we give out, nobody's prepared to pay that. And this is when you have to look at Murta and Arnold and say, what were you doing? What were you doing? Because why would you? Antony was on 20k a week, and when we're offering him 200k a week, why would you offer Antony 200k a week? Offer him 70k a week, and then we're in a somewhat sellable position. Marcus Rashford, I know, had a very good season, but 300k a week. Casemiro, 350k a week, more than he was on at Real Madrid, despite him on the way down. These wages are not helping the club. It's not helping the sustainability, and that isn't INEOS' fault. INEOS were not the ones that decided to go out and pay this ridiculous money and give these players these ridiculous wages. But INEOS have got to clear that out. INEOS have got to clear that out. So I have a bit of sympathy with INEOS in the sense of they didn't give the players these wages, and it is going to be harder to sell them. But I want INEOS to go out there and be ruthless and sell the players. I understand it's easier said than done. I understand they're not the reason these players are on such high wages and just impossible to sell. But I want to see more. I want to see INEOS going out there and working and pushing these players out and getting them gone. I need to see clear out, because until we have a clear out and until players leave, nobody's coming in. Until we can get rid of some players, nobody's coming in. And they want to get rid of Antony. Rashford's obviously, that's going to happen. He's going to go. Amorim doesn't want him, and they want to get rid of Casemiro. But we need to see something happen. Casemiro and Saudi, there's been agent talk, this and that, but he may wait to the summer. Got more options. MLS have a bit of interest. Antony, there's interest in loan, but it's United paying the wages. And Marcus Rashford, the interest is there. But again, teams want to mug us off. Teams want to mug us off and be like, actually, we'll pay half his wages and you pay the other half. Teams want to mug us off. So we've got to be careful. Instead of blaming the previous regime, can't INEOS find a loophole like sponsoring the clubs that buy our players using a third party or something similar? They brought United knowing this was a problem. I get what you mean, but at the end of the day, it wasn't their fault that we gave these players such high wages, and it will be difficult, and they're going to have to find loopholes and a way out. And unfortunately, it's going to be very hard because Man United are quite easy to walk all over in the transfer window as well. Unfortunately, we're one of the easiest sides to walk over in the transfer window. Continuing on, Amorim has a zero tolerance policy. Ruben Amorim's decision to leave Manchester United out of the Manchester derby was seen by his teammates as a hugely significant move in terms of application in training and effort in matches. The players agree with Amorim's attempts to set the standard. So Ruben Amorim's decision to kick out Marcus Rashford from the Manchester derby apparently sent a message to the squad and went down well with the squad, because essentially the squad is seeing that Ruben Amorim was kicking out anyone that's not given 100% in training, 100% on the pitch. And that's gone down well with the players. Now, interestingly, versus Liverpool and versus Arsenal, and this could make me look like an idiot because we could absolutely bottle it versus Southampton. But versus Liverpool and versus Arsenal, we saw those Manchester United players give 110% on the pitch versus Liverpool and versus Arsenal. We saw them doing everything to get behind the ball, work together as a unit, giving everything on the pitch. And I do sit there and I do think, these players are giving 100%. These players are working hard. This is the Amorim message. This is the Amorim mentality. Get back and defend, sprinting back in the last minute of extra time when Arsenal had a counter-attacking opportunity. That is what Ruben Amorim wants from his players. That is the message. That is the mentality from Ruben Amorim. Is you've got to give 100%. You've got to sprint. Everybody's got to get back behind the ball and defend. And I do think that Ruben Amorim wants that to be instilled in the players. And we've seen that the last two games. And I think Rashford being dropped but not showing the levels in training and still being out, I think is a message, because he's telling the players, you have to give 100% on the pitch in training or you won't play. There's no more walking around. There's no more lazing around. It is you've got to go out there and you've got to give 100% in training or you won't play. And I think that's a very strong message from Ruben Amorim. But I like it. I like the ruthlessness. I like the brutalness. You know me, I like Marcus Rashford. He's one of my favourite players and I stick up for him a lot. But I like that Ruben Amorim has gone out there and just decided, you know what? He's not given enough in training. He's out the squad. Because then every other player knows if they don't show it on the pitch or they don't show it in training, they're not going to play. You know, Garnacho spoke back to him. He was out of the squad. It's that whole mindset thing that the players know who's in charge. The players know who is boss at Manchester United. And I like that as well. And I think it's having an influence on the side because you've seen in the last 2 games, they're giving everything because they know if they don't, they're gone. It's not the Man United days of being lazy and walking around. This is a manager whose philosophies and principles are essentially work hard, give 100%. His whole philosophy and principles rely, to begin with, on intensity. Intensity is key. And he said that in his first interview. The key for success is having a good coach, sign players who fit the system and have a strong bench. Also replace players who are leaving with proper quality players who fit the system. On top of that as well, on top of the hard work, we also need that. But that's what Ruben Amorim is doing. It is getting rid of high-wage players. It is being brutal. It is dropping players. And I like that Laurie Whitmore mentioned this. Ruben Amorim has had his players at Carrington every day this week to iron out details ahead of Southampton rather than giving them a day off. The Man United players must be exhausted after Arsenal. 120 minutes, absolutely gave everything. They must be exhausted. But Ruben Amorim has them back, ironing out every detail before Southampton, going into every little bit of tactic. You know, and I think the players are behind him. I mean, I might regret saying this if we put in an awful performance versus Southampton, but the effort and energy levels versus Arsenal versus Liverpool, where have we seen that? And Ruben Amorim was right when he said he's fuming with the Man United squad. Ruben Amorim was absolutely livid with the Man United squad after Arsenal and after Liverpool because he's saying, I've had 2 games where I can see what you can do and you can run and give everything. Why were you not doing that in the other games for me? What's changed for me to get you to work hard? And Martinez, as he said, it's mentality. Martinez said we got the results of the last 2 matches because of mentality. It's in the mind. And a lot of it is in the mind with Manchester United because when you're being outrun by every single opposition in every single game and you wonder why you're not winning games, you have to look at it and say, could you have run more? Could you have worked harder? And Ruben Amorim, these last few weeks, he's had longer with the squad. He's made brutal decisions like getting rid of Marcus Rashford because he's instilling the fact that it is mentality, it is work rate, it is effort at Manchester United. And I like that. Most important, current sporting regime needs to support Amorim culture reset. Previous setup, massive issue with that. 100%. Amorim is resetting the culture, but it's up to INEOS to get those players out and get the good replacements. Amorim can reset the culture and Amorim can get the best out of our players and set them up tactically. But if you want Amorim to succeed, and I believe he can succeed because I think he's the first manager that I think could reset that culture and have that authority in the dressing room because of his age. But if we want Ruben Amorim to succeed, if we want Ruben Amorim to be successful at United, then INEOS need to go out there and they need to get rid of the big wage players and they need to get recruitment spot on. It's not buying for the sake of it. It's not panic buys. And maybe that's why we're not doing anything in January. Maybe. But it is making sure that you're buying the perfect players for the perfect position. Getting that perfect left wing back in. Getting that perfect midfielder with legs in, with technical attributes. Getting that striker. Getting that left 10. Potentially a right wing back. Potentially a left centre back. That's what Ruben Amorim needs. And as Amorim said, he will learn more in a match where we dictate play. Ruben Amorim said, you know, we're going to learn more in this Southampton match about this team than we did versus Liverpool and Arsenal. And the reason because of that is he expects United to beat Southampton. He expects 2-3 goals. You know, we did great off the ball in the last 2 games. We showed the effort. We showed desire in the last 2 games off the ball. But he wants to see more on the ball. Ruben Amorim's made that clear. He wants to see more from Manchester United on the ball. And that's today, where Man United have got to prove what they can do on the ball. What can you do on the ball? What can you show? That's what we're going to see. And work rate is so important under Ruben Amorim. It's so important. And we're going to talk about that. Ruben Amorim, like what has he done so far? Rashford is out and he's essentially being forced out within a month of Amorim being in. Rashford's been asked to look for new clubs. Garnacho's been dropped and then benched for 7 games because he didn't follow Amorim's instructions. Only got his 3rd start since versus Arsenal. Casemiro and Eriksen have been forced to hold the bench. Collier is coming on. And Amorim has a zero tolerance for players who do not work hard in training, talk back, lack the mentality, or fail to follow instructions. He kicks them out without hesitation. Ruben Amorim is laying down the rules. Ruben Amorim is being strict with the Man United players. And I like that. He's laying down the rules. He's saying, I'm in charge. And I like that from Ruben Amorim. I really do. I want to get into transfer news. I want to get into a few stories. I want to get into a few updates and more. but I thought I wanted to talk about Ruben Amorim and I think the influence that he's having on players and more. But we've got updates on Garnacho to Napoli and a couple other stories as well. Rashford deal is expected to be an advancement very soon in regards to Marcus Rashford and whatever happens with him as well. But I want to talk about this story as well. Jesse Lingard, interestingly, has been named as the new captain of FC Seoul as he prepares for a second season as well. There's updates coming in regards to Man Utd United, with the interest still being there, but it would depend on a sale. Marcus Rashford's sale is expected to advance in the next 1 to 2 days. His reports coming out, but we're going to start with Garnacho, because Garnacho Manchester United exit is probably the most heavily spoken about thing right now in regards to Manchester United news, transfer news and more. And this has been said on Garnacho. Alejandro Garnacho is a dream signing for Napoli. They appreciate him internally and believe he's perfect for them. Garnacho was also a dream signing for Antonio Conte, who is in love with the player. Napoli are being realistic. They know Manchester United want big money, not 35 to 40 million. The transfer depends on Napoli's budget if they want to invest big money, says Fabrizio Romano. Again, I will probably do a live stream tonight talking about the team, talking about this, talking about that. But yeah, I mean, Garnacho, he's a player that Napoli love, a player that could be open to Napoli and that Conte want. But will Man United sell him? I don't think we're going to sell him. I don't think we're going to sell him, if I was going to be totally honest. I just think we're in a position right now where if Rashford's going and we want to get rid of Anthony, we wait till the summer and then we'll let Ruben Amorim make a decision in the summer. But I wouldn't sell Garnacho. But 60 million. Napoli want to see if they can get him for about 40 million. 60 million and INEOS could sell Garnacho, which is quite crazy to think. But if we sell Garnacho, who do we replace him with? Because there's not many options in January. There's not many options at all. And you have to get that right, because Garnacho's had a few poor months, but he's not a bad player. And he's one of those players we could sell. He could go to Napoli in the right environment, ball it out. And we'll be saying, we sold Garnacho for 60 million. We brought so-and-so in for 50 million. And Garnacho was so much better. And we've downgraded, because that's what Man United do time and time again when it comes to sales. In terms of other news with Garnacho, it said that Garnacho is a candidate to replace Kvaratskhelia at Napoli. Napoli are considering making a bid for Garnacho, and that Napoli are pushing ahead with a move to sign Garnacho, but United wants 70 million. 60 plus million, I think INEOS can negotiate a deal with Garnacho if he wants to leave. But I don't think Napoli are going to pay up 60 million for Garnacho. But that's what Man United want. Napoli ready to bid around 40 million. Let's see how this advances. But I do not see Garnacho going anywhere. But I think Garnacho could leave Manchester United in the summer. It was also said by Gazzetta that Napoli have reportedly opened talks with Bologna winger Dan Ndoye, as United have rejected an opening €40 million bid for Garnacho. I don't know if we rejected that bid or not. Ndoye is an option to replace Kvaratskhelia if United refuse to sell Garnacho. So maybe they're going to push and push and push for Garnacho because he's the better player of him and Ndoye. And maybe they will up the bid to 60 million and we do sell Garnacho in January, because apparently Garnacho said yes to Napoli, agreed a contract, wants to leave. I mean, I don't know the situation with that. You have to take all the news and information with a pinch of salt. But apparently Garnacho has said yes to Napoli, blah, 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 blah. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But again, I don't think he's going to go. I don't think Garnacho's going to go, despite news coming out saying that he could go. People are saying take 70 million. I think if we get 70 million for Garnacho, we have to think seriously. Should we take that as well? I think Garnacho's a bit headstrong, but if he listens to Ruben and works hard, he can certainly resurrect his United career. Talent's there, but he needs to listen to the right people. I agree. I think with Garnacho, I think people are being very reactionary. He's had a few poor months in a new environment, in an unstable environment. I think he can still be a very, very good player for United. I think we don't want to rush this decision based off 2 months of poor form. I think we should wait to the summer until we have a bit longer. Someone said this: City are 48 hours to sign 3 players and we're not signing anyone. They are signing top scorer in Bundesliga. Yeah, I get what you mean, but City didn't spend much in the summer and City have made a lot of money through sales, so they have a lot more money to spend than us. And they have, just better owners. Let's be honest. It was also said on Garnacho that the potential transfer of Alejandro Garnacho to Napoli remains complicated at the moment. This is due to Manchester United's demand of a 70 million fee, which has not been lowered in recent hours. It's been said as well. So again, Napoli and Garnacho. Apparently Garnacho wants to go to Napoli. Apparently he's agreed, terms with Napoli and wants to move this and that. Again, I don't know the truth in that. I don't know if Garnacho wants to move to Napoli. I don't know if Garnacho has agreed terms for Napoli, this and that. But what I do know in regards to Garnacho and Napoli is if there's any chance of it happening, Napoli have to pay at least 60 million. Now, Man United would be open to cashing on Alejandro Garnacho if a suitable offer arrives. That's been said by many people. Doesn't take a genius to work that out. INEOS have said, you give us 70 million pure FFP profit for Garnacho. We need that kind of money to invest. And because he's not the perfect fit for Amorim's system, because he's more of a winger that likes to be out wide and Amorim likes his winger in the pocket, Amorim may look to sell Garnacho. But the other conversation is, well, Garnacho's so young and he's so adaptable and he's so raw and he can be molded into a player. And Ruben Amorim himself, I thought, made some really interesting comments on Garnacho. And I want to read out Ruben Amorim's comments on Garnacho because I think he makes a few really interesting points. Ruben Amorim said this on Garnacho: "That is clear. He has talent. He needs to learn to play in a different position. He needs to play better on side." Ruben Amorim looks at Garnacho. He's raw. He's a prospect, but he has the talent. He's a good player there. He is a good player. He scored that bloody bicycle hit versus Everton. He said he just needs to learn to play in a different position. He needs to play better inside, said Ruben Amorim. And that is true. We've got to remember this. We have to be patient with Garnacho. He's been a touchline winger and a raw player, an exciting player. He's a bit low on confidence. He's out of form. And the new manager's come in and plays a way that Garnacho's not used to playing. And I think to write Garnacho off so early would be silly, particularly when he's so young. As Ruben Amorim said, he's got to learn to play this new position. He needs to learn to play better inside. He says he improves a lot in recovering position when he doesn't have the ball. But doing that, sometimes he's not in the right place to make transitions like he was in the past. He says, I prefer to defend, then build up with the team and reach the final third. He's finding the best way to play in this system. He's improving during training. He started the last game. Let's see tomorrow. I think he changes the way he sees himself. Now, Garnacho's had a good cameo off the bench versus Liverpool, and he was very quiet versus Arsenal, but we were quite limited anyway. And when he did get the ball versus Arsenal, in my opinion, he did make the right choice. He got the assist and he's looked better, and that will give him some confidence. And I think it's quite early to write off Garnacho. If clubs are willing to give 50, 60 million, it shows the player is there. For me, I look at it as we think about Garnacho in the summer. How's his form between now and the summer? What does Ruben Amorim see in him? Because look, Man United need funds, and Garnacho could be one of the best sources of funds and pure FFP profit to invest further in the squad. And maybe selling Garnacho will be what United need to invest further in the squad. His decision making, there's elements of that needs to improve. There's a lot of Garnacho's game that needs to develop, and it could be one of those where United are going to rush a sale of Garnacho in January and we be short and bring in a panic player. Could United wait till the summer, get a really good fee for Garnacho, sell him and invest that funds to improve the squad if Ruben Amorim doesn't see him as a long-term fit? Or Garnacho really has a good few months and we're saying in summer Garnacho's untouchable. There's many scenarios that could happen, but I would wait till the summer before I would call any shots on Garnacho. And as Showcut Khan says here, Garnacho needs a better left back behind him. Yeah, he needs a better. I think it'd be interesting to see how he does with that. He has the hunger to strike, even if he has tiny space, whereas Højlund takes too many touches before he strikes. I think Højlund just overthinking it at the moment, but I like Garnacho's hunger to get forward, to attack. He's not the most clinical player, and again, clinical in his decision making, but he gets in the right areas and he has that hunger to attack as well. How can Garnacho all of a sudden turn into a technical, intelligent inside 10? It's too much of a risk. I'm not saying he's going to be that player, but Ruben Amorim likes a pace outlet. And he could adapt to be better in the pockets and better inside when he learns position. He's 19, he can still develop. Amad in terms of technical ability is more natural than Garnacho. He's not going to be Amad. But there's elements of Garnacho's game where you look at it and think, well, that could improve and that could improve and that could work well and that could work well. He can definitely develop at 19 under a good manager. I think Napoli would suit him, but despite reports saying that Garnacho's agreed to join Napoli, despite reports coming out saying Garnacho's agreed to join Napoli, past times agreed, I think he wants to stay at United this summer at least. I think he'll definitely be looking around and he'll definitely have his agent looking around because Man United made it clear they're willing to cash in on Garnacho. They're willing to cash in on Maino. Of course, Alejandro Garnacho is going to be looking around here and there at moves. But I don't actually think the player himself wants to leave. I could see Garnacho adapting. He's showing less selfishness as of late and he likes to get inside and have a shot. 100%. I just think it's too early to write a player off. I do. Now, let's talk about other news. Let's talk about other stories and transfers coming out. It was said that AC Milan and Barcelona remain the two clubs most interested in Marcus Rashford. Both clubs are waiting for the player's decision and the final option of the deal. Discussion continues with both clubs, but Barcelona, it's important to see what happens with Fati. Barcelona want Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford's dream move is Barcelona. This deal will only happen if Barcelona can offer a player like Ansu Fati so they can free up space to bring Marcus Rashford in. That is the only way the deal can happen, is if Barcelona freeing up space to bring Marcus Rashford in, because Barcelona are broke. AC Milan want Rashford. Maybe Rashford's waiting for Barcelona because that is his dream move. I wouldn't be surprised. Barcelona's his dream move. AC Milan's his backup. Maybe he's waiting for Barcelona, but Barcelona have to get rid of Ansu Fati. I think there will be developments in the Rashford situation. We were told that this week it should be concluded. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case. I think there'll be developments, but I wouldn't be shocked if Rashford's situation is one that goes all the way down to deadline day, bit like Jadon Sancho. I feel like we know he's going to go. David Ornstein said he believes he's going to go. I still think he's going to go. I don't think he's going to stay, but I feel like there should be advancements this week. They say there's going to be advancements this week, but actually I could see Marcus Rashford being a Jadon Sancho situation where it just goes down to deadline day and it just drags on. And to be honest, I'm just so fed up of talking about it. I'm so fed up of talking about it, people. You don't understand. I'm bored of it. I'm bored of talking about Rashford this, Rashford that. It needs to end. The Rashford saga needs to be done with. The Rashford saga needs to end. Continuing on, other news on Marcus Rashford. Barcelona are trying to free up space in the squad to move forward with the Marcus Rashford deal. The player has not made any decision on his future. There is no deadline. AC Milan and Barcelona, they're the top two. They're the two clubs negotiating. They've got to agree a deal with United to pay a certain amount of the wages. Barcelona need to free up funds. Let's see what happens. It could drag out to deadline day. Who knows? Ryan Aït-Nouri is Ruben Amorim's preferred left-back choice. Manchester United want to bring him in as a replacement for Shaw and Malassi, who's expected to leave. What source did you get that from, Gamer? What source did you get that from? Court offside via United Forever. So not the most reliable source, but I'm sure we are looking at Aït-Nouri as well. Rashford would be a scrap getting into Barca exercise. Syria probably better, but I think Rafinha could play as the 10. I would like to see Rashford at Barcelona, even though there's a bit more competition. Leao could do with the competition. I think he doesn't straight away walk into Barcelona or Milan, but I think he could do well at both clubs and suit both clubs, if you know what I mean. Continuing on into other stories. It was said the players are on board with Ruben Amorim's attempt to set standard, and that Ruben Amorim is hard on the Man United players, but he also has the sensibility of a player having only retired in 2017. He's able to communicate what he wants that people to bring along with the United squad. So what we know is the Man United players are very on board with Ruben Amorim's attempt to make it set standard, and that is, Collier coming off the bench instead of Casemiro and Eriksen. That is Marcus Rashford being kicked out. That is Garnacho being dropped. Ruben Amorim is trying to set standards. Ruben Amorim is trying to set mentality at Manchester United, and the players are on board with that. They've not turned on him for making big decisions. They're on board with that, and we saw the mentality from the United players versus Liverpool and Arsenal. And Ruben Amorim called them out. He said he's fuming because why didn't they show that more? And we saw the Man United players themselves say, the mentality was different, and that made such an impact. Why don't we see that more? We need to see that more from the Manchester United players. We need to see that mentality, that desire to win, that I'm going to give everything. And that's what Ruben Amorim's working on. And that's what Ruben Amorim's trying to get out of the Man United squad. And hopefully he does. Mike says Garnacho's only 20 and needs time to develop as to learning play in a different position as a team player and maturing his attitude. He appears to try and set Amorim's standard. Yeah, Garnacho is a player that I'm willing to be a bit patient with. Anthony, no, he's had too many chances, not good enough. But Garnacho is a player that I'm willing to be patient with. I think people are being over the top with. But yeah, there was questions marks over if he is going to be the right long-term fit for Amorim's system. I'm not sure. But I think people are a little bit over the top right now in terms of, he's not been great. Decision-making is poor. But he can still develop and he can still go up levels. And I think there's definitely elements of an overreaction there for sure. But listen, people, big up to everybody for tuning into today's live show. I will be back with a live show at 4 p.m. I'll see you later today. Thank you for watching. Bye.